One of the fascinating aspects of the Lenca culture that has persevered to this day is the Guancasco, which is a pre-Colombian peace process. For over 500 years, the Lenca people have been waging peace with these Guancascos every year or two, with potential or former rival communities. Please continue watching to find out more.
Greetings, Wonders viewers. I'm Claudia. The vibrant people of El Salvador wish you the best of health and happiness. Welcome to our program, El Salvador's Indigenous Peoples, Jewels of the Nation. El Salvador is in Central America and has the Pacific Ocean to the west, Guatemala to the north, and Honduras to the east. The Pipil people, who are the predominant indigenous group in the country, refer to their territory in western El Salvador as Cuscatlán, meaning the place of jewel necklaces. Anyone who has ever had the opportunity to visit this exquisite nation will agree that it is a land of many jewels. The region has known human habitation for much time, as evidenced by the 7,000-year-old rock art that can be found in the Holy Spirit Grotto, La Gruta del Espíritu Santo, located in the northeastern department of Morazán. The first advanced Mesoamerican civilization to have inhabited present-day El Salvador were the Olmecs, who originated in the Gulf of Mexico and spread their influence as far south as Nicaragua between 1200 BC to 400 BC. They were a sophisticated society and believed to be the mother civilization of Mesoamerica, passing on their culture to those that came after them, including the Aztecs and the Maya. El Salvador was an important part of a trade route in Mesoamerica, where indigenous people traveled to acquire new plants for food, exchange materials such as jade and pottery, and develop and maintain good relations with other groups. Perhaps the most sophisticated were the Maya, who are renowned for their monumental architectural buildings and pyramids, advancements in mathematics and astronomy, and the famed Mayan calendar. Several archaeological sites in El Salvador showcase their high level of development, including San Andrés and Tazumal, both Mayan trading cities. While these places highlight some of the achievements of the indigenous cultures existing in El Salvador prior to the arrival of Europeans, one of the most notable archaeological areas is the country's only United Nations educational, scientific, and cultural organization, UNESCO Heritage Site, Joya de Serén. It is viewed as the Pompeii of the Americas because it was buried under 3 meters of ash following a natural disaster in the 7th century. As such, it has become the best way to learn about the daily lives of Mayan farmers. Fortunately, no human remains have been found at the site, which indicates the people had sufficient warning and were able to leave their homes in time. Coexisting with the Maya were the Lenca people. At the time the Spanish arrived, they were the second largest native group in El Salvador after the Pipil. Today, they are most prevalent in Honduras, where there are approximately 100,000 Lenca. There are about 37,000 Lenca in El Salvador, concentrated in the eastern part of the nation. One of the fascinating aspects of the Lenca culture that has persevered to this day is the Guancasco, which is a pre-Colombian peace process. For over 500 years, The Lenca people have been waging peace with these Guancascos every year or two with potential or former rival communities. Like other areas of our world, different groups or villages may have conflict with each other. The Lenca people created this peace ritual to be mutually performed by two communities as a means of avoiding or resolving disharmony. On the day of the Guancasco ritual, the residents of one municipality will meet in the village square, adorned with beautiful, colorful outfits, and begin walking to the neighboring community while people play instruments and sing songs. At the same time, the people in the nearby village have also met in their own square and begun their procession to meet their neighbors on the road. The ritual meeting evokes shared joy, hugs, and tenderness, as purifying copal and other incense is burned, bringing about a universal feeling that peace is possible. A joint celebration begins with a sharing of food and water. Often it is marked by bringing in new local leaders and sometimes other celebrations, including weddings or baptisms. The event starts with the leaders from each village meeting to divide the fireworks bought with money from both communities. The residents of the two municipalities will then often have a broom dance, where the new leader gives a broom decorated with flowers to the outgoing leader. In turn, that person gives a staff to the new leader. Part of a Guancasco also takes place at the main Catholic church in one of the towns, which has been decorated for the occasion. The climax of the event is called the Dance of the Black Iguana, which features intricate costumes and traditional music. We are going to pause now for a brief positive message and then return. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back, precious viewers, to our program El Salvador's Indigenous Peoples, Jewels of the Nation. We now continue with more interesting facts about the Lenca. Economically, the Lenca are focused on agriculture. Specifically, they continue to use the milpa, which is a system of farming they embraced from the Mayan civilization. They grow the traditional three sisters of corn, beans, and squash, as well as cacao, sugarcane, and wheat. The milpa system is synergistic in terms of optimizing the ecology of the land. Part of the milpa method includes only growing food 2 out of every 10 years on one plot of land to maintain the earth's fertility. One aspect of Lencan culture that has been retained is that of pottery. For at least 1500 years, the methods of making pottery from mud clay have been passed down from Lencan mothers to daughters. Prior to the arrival of the Spaniards, Lencan pottery was not materially different from what was produced by the Mayans and other natives of the region. In recent times, Lencan women have been encouraged to embrace more modern designs to appeal to global tastes, with increased sales bringing much-needed money into Lencan communities. Today, art galleries in the United States and Europe display the beautiful bold geometric patterns crafted by Lencan potters. When the Spanish arrived in the 16th century, the Pipils were the largest group of indigenous people, numbering around 1 million. They remain today the largest indigenous group and most of the population of El Salvador, who are of mixed indigenous Spanish heritage, descended from the Pipils. The Pipils originated in central Mexico and speak Nahuatl, which is one of the Uto-Aztecan languages. Speakers of this language family include the Ute Indians in the U.S. state of Utah and other Native Americans in the western United States and extend southward all the way through El Salvador to the Nicaraos in Nicaragua. The Pipils migrated south to El Salvador in two basic waves, the first of which is believed to have occurred around 200 BC, when a group of farmers arrived and intermingled with the Mayans and other indigenous groups in the region. The main wave of Pipils occurred around the late 10th century. Archaeological evidence indicates they were culturally and ethnically related to the Toltecs, who the Aztecs claim as their predecessors. These are nobles who are believed to have left central Mexico as refugees due to a combination of drought and conflict. When they settled in El Salvador, they created a sophisticated society similar to the Aztecs but with Mayan influences mixed in. Once they arrived, they established the city-state of Cuscatlán and began intermarrying with the other groups, including the Lenca and Maya. They established a complex society that studied mathematics, astronomy, writing, and hieroglyphics. Over time, a loose confederacy evolved with two other city-states and smaller principalities. They were an agricultural society, with many people becoming wealthy due to their success in growing indigo for dyeing fabric blue. By developing a sophisticated irrigation system, they were able to become very successful at growing cacao, which they traded far to the north in central Mexico and south to Costa Rica. The Pipil people also had great skill in growing cotton and producing cotton textiles, which they sold using an extensive trade network. We are fortunate to have been able to share with you today some flavors of the rich native culture of El Salvador and wish that awareness and appreciation for the nation's native peoples and their fine traditions grow further in the future. Thank you so much for joining us for El Salvador's Indigenous Peoples, Jewels of the Nation. Up next is Shining World Compassion Award recipient Dr. J. Crossman of Homeless Not Toothless, Part 2 of 2, right after noteworthy news. May you stay shining and sparkling just like your inner heavenly treasure.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/CTAW.